In medieval Japan, illiterate peasants seeking spiritual relief found themselves locked out of a system that required thousands of lifetimes of rigorous scholarly study. This painting captures the chaos of the 13th century Mappo period, an era defined by constant warfare, massive earthquakes, and rampant plagues that decimated the population. During this societal collapse, Buddhism functioned as a closed system, reserved almost entirely for aristocrats, wealthy elites, and highly educated monks. Ordinary people possessed few practical tools to navigate the crisis, trapped in cycles of suffering and bad karma, with no immediate way to change their circumstances. The religious system failed the exact population that needed it most to survive a catastrophic age. A young monk named Nichiren Shonin rejected this status quo, spending 14 years traveling across Japan's major religious centers to find a functional cure for societal suffering. His research led to a sharp conclusion. The religious establishment had diluted the Buddha's message by scattering their focus across 84,000 different, confusing scriptures. Nichiren determined that the absolute, unifying truth was ultimately concentrated within the chapters of one single, powerful text, the Lotus Sutra. Nichiren acted as a restorer, diagnosing a systemic failure and resurrecting what he identified as the Buddha's final, most powerful message. The Lotus Sutra reveals two radical themes. First is universal Buddhahood, the premise that every living being already possesses the Buddha seed right now. The second theme establishes Shakyamuni Buddha as an eternal presence, an active guide who continues to direct humanity long after his historical life in India. These massive theological concepts are grounded in the physical anatomy of the lotus flower. The lotus blooms and produces seeds at the exact same time, symbolizing the simultaneous nature of cause, our practice, and effect, our enlightenment. Practitioners realize Buddhahood instantly, blooming directly out of the messy mud of everyday life rather than waiting for a future reincarnation. But the logistical challenge remained. How could an illiterate peasant utilize a 28-chapter metaphysical epic? Nichiren introduced a practical framework called the Three Great Hidden Dharmas. By chanting just 7 syllables, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, a person receives the same merit as reading the entire Lotus Sutra. The second dharma is the Gohonzon. Nichiren created this calligraphic great mandala as a physical map of the sutra's universe, serving as a visual focus for reverence. The third is the Kaidan. Nichiren universalized the concept of sacred space, teaching that any location where a person chants becomes a platform for enlightenment. This effectively open-sourced enlightenment, distilling a massive, elite philosophy into a portable and universally accessible technology. This democratization threatened the military and religious establishment. In a treatise titled Risho Ankoku Ran, Nichiren warned the government that their spiritual negligence invited impending disaster. The pushback was violent. Authorities burned his home, nearly beheaded him, and ultimately banished him to the freezing, brutal conditions of Sado Island. Nichiren refused to abandon his mission or retaliate against this violence. Instead, he maintained the patience and compassion of a bodhisattva, continuing his work despite the isolation. Nichiren's physical survival and psychological resilience during these years demonstrated to his followers that the Lotus Sutra provided a practical, immense power for the real world. Modern practitioners engage with the Lotus Sutra as a living, daily tool, maintaining the same active focus seen in these priests today. Every chant of the Odaimoku reaffirms Nichiren's revolutionary premise. Spiritual perfection is available immediately to anyone who claims it. Enlightenment manifests as the ability to bloom powerfully in the middle of suffering, moving past the idea of spiritual practice as a mere escape from the world.